How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. Welcome to a brand new series on Football Manager 2017. During the course of this series, we're going to be playing as Chelsea, who I do actually support in real life, so pretty excited for the release of Football Manager 2017 and certainly looking forward to checking out all the new features that are on the game and seeing what I can do with this Chelsea team. What I'm most likely to do is probably play with Chelsea maybe for 2 or 3 seasons, just until the actual release of Football Manager 2017 has been released, and then I'm more than likely going to be doing a non-league save. This season, well, this version of Football Manager, I don't actually want to do a non-league save in England. I tend to do that quite often. What I'm probably going to do is do a non-league save in, it's likely to be a European country, so probably France, Italy or Spain. If you've got any sort of ideas or comments of what type of save you would like me to do on this version of Football Manager, do leave your comments below. So for the beta, what I am basically going to be doing is getting used to the tactics on this particular version of Football Manager. By the end of Football Manager 2016, I got a fairly sort of decent amount of sort of tactical knowledge of the game, and that's something that I'm looking to sort of develop in this version of the game as well. So yeah, there's certainly going to be quite a few different things I'm going to be trying out in the game, and a lot of things that I did learn whilst playing Football Manager 2016. So what I've done so far, guys, I have basically just loaded up the game. I've been having a look through the squad and I'm very happy with the squad. Obviously Chelsea have a lot of very world-class players. In particular, Eden Hazard and Diego Costa are very good, and obviously we've got Kante in the middle of the park as well, who's likely to be quite a big player for this particular formation that I've been developing here. I'm certainly happy as well with the amount of other players that Chelsea do have in the squad. If you have a look at the squad depth of the team, they've got a lot of very decent players. Potentially they're lacking a striker maybe. I will likely give Batshuayi a fair amount of game time, I'd imagine, but Diego Costa is definitely going to be the main man. And yeah, so a lot of kind of covering most areas of the pitch. I have got a transfer budget of £40 million. I'm not necessarily going to spend all of that money, but I am going to be looking to buy a new centre midfielder. The reason I would like to buy a centre midfielder is just having a look at the tactic that I'm trying to set up here. So to get the most out of Eden Hazard, I'm going to have to use him as an inside forward. The description of an inside forward is someone that's going to cut in from the flanks. He's going to run directly at the opposition's sort of defence and things like that. Obviously, if you take a look at Eden Hazard, what he's going to be doing, he likes to run with the ball often, and yeah, he's going to be absolutely perfect for doing that. He's basically what I want out of Eden Hazard is for him to get the ball and just absolutely sprint with it all day long. Kind of have a lot of creative freedom just to be able to do whatever he pretty much wants to do with the ball. Like I mentioned earlier, Kante is going to play a very important role in this team. I'm going to be using him probably as a centre midfielder on the defend duty. So the reason why I'm going to use him as in the centre midfielder role is that he's just going to be responsible for providing a little bit of industry and versatility in the middle of the park. And I do think that might be quite a good thing for him to do. What's basically going to be happening, he's going to be sitting a little bit deeper, and he's just going to be making sure that the opposition can't counter-attack us, and he's also going to be controlling the tempo of the game. I'm just going to have a quick look at his preferred moves. So it says here that he likes to run with the ball often. When I do actually set up his sort of moves, so if you click on here to player, what I'm basically going to be doing, if Kante is in this position, I'm going to add him here, and I don't really want him running with the ball that often. I do want him to just be kind of getting the ball and playing off really short little passes, you know, just kind of ticking things over really nice in the middle of the pitch and things like that. I do think that that's going to be a good thing for him to do. I'm going to leave him on the closing down sometimes, as I do think that that's going to be quite a good thing in terms of him actually holding his shape and things like that. The good thing about the centre midfielder position is that he will hold his position. So yeah, I don't exactly want him sort of going absolutely bonkers and sort of, you know, trying to run all the way over the pitch and, you know, just trying to tackle every single person. He's certainly capable of doing that with his tackling attributes and his work rate attributes and things like that. But in terms of our actual shape and, you know, kind of structure that we want with this tactic, that's not what I want him to be doing. My basic idea for sort of defending with this formation is that I'm going to be leaving Oscar on the attacking midfield duty. The attacking midfielder, if you leave him on the support role, they will actually help back in defence. So what's going to be happening when we are actually having to defend, Oscar is going to be basically pushing back to this position. I'm likely to probably leave William on the support duty as a winger. Although he's not very, kind of good at tackling, he's got fantastic work rate, fairly decent positioning. But yeah, so I think that's going to be a really good thing for William to do. So basically when we're defending, William's going to be pushing back into this position. I do want Eden Hazard to be sort of up in this position as much as possible. I do want him to basically be our outlet for sort of attacking, and I'll try and get the ball up to him as quickly as possible. I'm a little bit unsure how to use Diego Costa. I've got a couple of ideas for him. Either I use him right at the top of the pitch, maybe as like a sort of advanced forward, or potentially even like a poacher. I do think he's probably likely to have fairly decent acceleration. Yeah, his acceleration is 14, and it says that he likes to run with the ball often. The only player trait that I don't particularly like for Diego Costa is that he likes to move into the channels. I'm not really kind of interested in him doing that, simply because if Eden Hazard kind of moves up into this position, what I don't want to happen is Diego Costa to be somewhere over here, or like randomly, kind of over in this position, and then for Hazard to be sort of isolated in the middle. What I would prefer to happen is for Diego Costa to be kind of up in this position, and then what can happen? Yeah, Oscar can kind of like be behind sort of in that position. William will obviously be in this position, and he'll be able to get the decent crosses in. What I'm also going to be doing as well, so Marcos Alonso, he's got a crossing attribute of 15, so I need to definitely make the most of that. Of course, where Eden Hazard is going to be kind of pushing into that more sort of central striker position, I do want Marcos Alonso to push forward as much as possible. So on the match engine, what you're likely to see is for Marcos Alonso to be pushing up. Well, what I'm hoping, he's going to be pushing up as much as possible, near enough in the same position as William. If Marcos Alonso's got the ball, what I want to happen is for William, Hazard, Diego Costa and Oscar to be the guys in the middle of the pitch. Potentially this centre midfielder here might push forward a little bit, maybe into this type of position, and then so when Marcos Alonso is crossing the ball, we've got all of these 5 players, potentially just these 4 here, in the box to receive any crosses that might come in. I'm going to have to play around with this a little bit. I hope I've got a fair amount of friendlies set up. Yeah, got a fair amount of friendlies, so I think that should be good enough for us to, kind of get ready for the new season and things like that. We got a pretty decent start to the season in having Burnley, Swansea, Leicester, and then it gets a little bit harder with City, Arsenal, Liverpool. But yeah, we should be in a fairly decent shape by the time we get to that. In terms of our defensive shape, this will be the kind of last segment of the video just before I kind of finish off this first episode, but I just really wanted to show you all the tactics. So yeah, Marcos Alonso basically is going to be sort of pushing back into this position when we are defending. Kante is going to be pushing back here. This midfield is going to be here. Oscar, like I mentioned before, he will be helping out in the sort of more defensive positions. William as well is likely to be kind of hovering around these 2 positions here. Hazard's going to be there, and like I said with Diego Costa, I'm not really too sure how I want to use him. So a couple of options I've got for Diego Costa, because I know that Eden Hazard's going to be pushing forward into that position. I'm fairly tempted for Diego Costa to almost push back into this position so he can play like a little bit of a through ball through to Eden Hazard. Initially, what I'm going to be doing with my team instructions, I'm going to be having a fairly narrow structure, and what I'm going to be doing is looking to exploit the middle of the pitch. The whole kind of purpose of doing that is that if we have a look at William's preferred moves, he likes to cut inside from both wings, and he also likes to run with the ball often. So what I'm going to be doing for William, for his sort of individual player instructions, I'm going to be, he's basically all set up how I want him to kind of go. But yeah, what he's going to be doing is, well, I do want him to cut inside with the ball actually, so I might actually need to change him from a winger potentially to something else so that I can actually get him to sort of tuck inside. Maybe I could use him as like an advanced playmaker, something like that, because that'll make the most of his cuts inside with the ball. I will have to have a play around with that and just see what looks like it's going to work when I'm actually creating this tactic in the friendlies. So generally my plan basically for this save is to just try and crack through as many seasons as I can before the actual, full version is out. Basically, I will look to be sort of developing a couple of players at the club, potentially the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I'd just like to see how much I could develop him. Yeah, basically. And then we've got a couple of players out on loan at the moment. I think if I remember in real life, Chelsea got something ridiculous like 38 players out on loan, something like that. So there's certainly a couple of players that I would be interested in developing when they come back to the club. The likes of Christensen. I would certainly like to potentially develop Bamford a little bit more, and that guy who's obviously out on Bristol City at the moment that's doing really well. So Tammy Abraham, he's actually doing really well in real life at the time I'm making this video, and he's near enough got 5-star potential. So he is definitely someone that I would like to develop when he does come back from his loan spell at Bristol City. But I'm going to call this the end of the episode here, guys. If you have enjoyed this first episode, do drop a like on the video, and of course do come back very, very soon, and we'll be back for some more Football Manager 2017 videos. Thanks for watching.